Have you ever noticed how some people always seem to have money? Not because they make more than you, not because they inherited it, but because money just flows to them. Naturally, almost effortlessly. Meanwhile, you're working just as hard, maybe harder. You're doing everything the experts tell you to do. Budgeting, saving, cutting back on lattes. And yet, at the end of the month, you're still stressed about bills, still wondering where it all went, still feeling like you're running on a treadmill that's going nowhere. Here's what nobody tells you. The difference isn't about how hard you work. It's not about discipline or willpower or some secret investing strategy. It's about something way more fundamental. It's about whether you're chasing money or thinking like money. Here at Simple Money, I've spent years watching people transform their financial lives. And the ones who succeed, they all make the same mental shift. They stop chasing and they start thinking differently. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that means. Here's what's really happening. Most of us have been trained to think about money completely backwards. From the time we're kids, we learn that money is something out there, something separate from us. Something we have to chase, capture, and hold on to for dear life. Think about the language we use. We say we're going after money. We talk about catching a break. We describe opportunities as things that come our way if we're lucky. Even the phrase making money suggests we're manufacturing something from nothing. Like it's magic. Like it requires some special formula we haven't discovered yet. But here's the uncomfortable truth. When you think of money as something external that you need to chase, you've already lost. Because chasing creates a really specific dynamic. It puts you in a position of need, of desperation, of always being one step behind. Money, like respect or opportunity or success, doesn't respond well to desperation. It moves away from it. This isn't some mystical law of attraction nonsense. It's basic psychology. When you're chasing, you make decisions from scarcity. You take the first offer. You undervalue yourself. You tolerate situations you shouldn't because you're afraid there won't be another chance. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine two people at a job interview. Person one desperately needs this job. They've been unemployed for months. They're behind on rent. They'll take whatever salary is offered. Person two is currently employed. They're exploring options. They're genuinely curious if this role fits their goals. Who do you think negotiates better? Who do you think the employer values more? The desperate one or the selective one? The one chasing or the one evaluating? Same situation, same job. Completely different outcomes. And it all comes down to the energy they're bringing, the mindset they're operating from. One is thinking like someone who needs money. The other is thinking like money itself. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When I say think like money, I don't mean become greedy or cold or calculating. I mean understand how money actually moves, what attracts it, what repels it, what makes it grow versus what makes it disappear. Money has patterns, predictable patterns. And once you understand these patterns, everything changes. You stop fighting against the current. You stop exhausting yourself. You start positioning yourself where money naturally flows. Let me break down the 5 key patterns that separate people who chase money from people who think like it. The first pattern is what I call the proximity principle. Money goes where money already is. This sounds obvious, but most people completely miss the implications. We think if we just work harder at our current job, if we just save more from our current income, we'll eventually get ahead. But that's not how money works. Money moves in networks, in systems, in environments. If you're in an environment where everyone is broke, where every conversation is about bills and debt, where the highest aspiration is making it to the next paycheck, money isn't flowing there. It doesn't matter how hard you work. You're fighting against the environment itself. Here's why this matters. Your financial reality isn't just about your individual choices. It's about the ecosystem you're part of, the people you're around, the information you're exposed to, the opportunities that are visible to you. When you're in a low-money environment, you don't even see the paths that lead to more money. They're invisible. They're not part of your reality. Think about it this way. If you grow up in a neighborhood where everyone works hourly jobs, you learn to think in hours and wages. 40 hours a week, $15 an hour. That's the framework. But in a different neighborhood, People think in equity and ownership. They think in assets and leverage. Same planet, completely different language. The people who understand this don't just work hard. They deliberately position themselves in higher money environments. They find ways to be around people who have what they want, not to leech or beg, but to absorb the patterns, to see what they couldn't see before, to learn the language that money speaks. The second pattern is what I call the value creation reversal. Most people ask, how can I make more money? That's the chasing question. The thinking like money question is completely different. It's what problem can I solve that people will pay for? See the difference? One is about your needs. The other is about other people's needs. One is asking what you can extract. The other is asking what you can contribute. And money, fundamentally, is just a measuring system for value created. It flows toward people who create value and away from people who just consume it. Here's where people get confused. They think, but I'm creating value. I work 40 hours a week. But working isn't the same as creating value. Working is just time and effort. Value is solving a problem that someone else has, making their life easier, better, more profitable, more enjoyable. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money follows. This is why you can work incredibly hard and stay broke, because hard work without value creation is just exhausting yourself. You're spending energy, but you're not creating anything anyone wants to pay for. It's like digging holes and filling them back in. Lots of effort, zero value. The people who think like money are obsessed with value creation. They're constantly asking what problems exist. What are people frustrated by? What would make someone's life noticeably better? What would someone pay to avoid or achieve? And then they position themselves as the solution to that problem. This is particularly cruel because we're taught the opposite. We're taught to focus on credentials, on degrees and certifications, and years of experience. And those things matter, but only if they help you solve problems people care about. A credential without application is just expensive paper. The third pattern is what I call the multiplication game. People who chase money think in addition. If I save $10 today and $10 tomorrow, I'll have $20. If I work an extra hour, I make an extra $20. It's linear. 1 + 1 = 2. Simple math. But people who think like money think in multiplication. They're looking for leverage, for scale, for systems that generate value without requiring their direct time and effort for every single dollar. They're asking, how can one unit of effort create multiple units of value? Here's what this looks like in practice. Let's say you're good at graphic design. The chasing approach is trading time for money. Client needs a logo, you spend 10 hours, you charge $500. You want to make more? Work more hours. Find more clients. It's addition. The thinking like money approach is completely different. You create a system. Maybe you develop a course teaching graphic design. You spend 100 hours creating it once, but then it sells over and over. Maybe 1,000 people buy it for $200 each. That's $200,000 from 100 hours of work. That's multiplication. Or maybe you build a template shop. You create 50 high-quality templates. It takes you 3 months. But then those templates sell on autopilot while you sleep, while you're on vacation, while you're working on the next thing. Same effort, completely different return. This doesn't mean everyone needs to start a business. It means understanding the difference between trading time for money and creating systems that work for you. It means looking for opportunities to scale your impact beyond your personal hours. It means building assets instead of just earning income. The fourth pattern is what I call the risk reversal. People who chase money are terrified of risk. They avoid it at all costs. They want guarantees, stability, safety. And that makes complete sense when you're operating from scarcity. When you're broke, every dollar matters. Every decision feels life or death. Risk feels dangerous. But here's the thing. Risk and reward are connected. Always. The safest financial positions often have the lowest returns. The highest returns usually involve accepting some level of uncertainty. Not stupid risk, not gambling, but calculated risk where you've done the homework and understand the odds. People who think like money have a completely different relationship with risk. They're not reckless, but they understand that the biggest risk is often playing it too safe. It's staying in the same underpaid job year after year because it feels secure. It's keeping all your money in a savings account, earning 0.5% while inflation eats it alive. It's avoiding investment because you might lose money, while guaranteeing you'll stay poor. Here's what makes this even more insidious. The system is designed to keep you risk-averse, to keep you playing small, because when you're scared, you're controllable. You'll accept less. You'll tolerate more. You won't ask for what you're worth. You won't leave for better opportunities. You'll stay exactly where you are. The people who break out understand that you have to take some risk to change your position. Not crazy risk, but strategic moves where the potential upside justifies the downside. Asking for that raise even though they might say no. Starting that side business even though it might fail. Investing in that opportunity even though it's not guaranteed. The fifth pattern is what I call the celebration trap. This one's sneaky. People who chase money celebrate by spending money. They finally get a raise. What do? They upgrade their lifestyle. New car, nicer apartment, better restaurants. They've been depriving themselves, so they deserve to treat themselves, right? But here's what's really happening. They're turning every financial win into a new expense. The raise doesn't actually improve their financial position. It just increases their monthly obligations. They're on the same treadmill, just running faster, with a better view. People who think like money do something completely different. When money comes in, they invest it. They buy assets. They create systems. They put it to work generating more money. The celebration isn't spending. It's watching their financial position strengthen. It's knowing they're building something that compounds. This doesn't mean living like a monk forever. It means understanding sequence. First, you build the foundation, the assets, the systems, the financial security. Then, you can enjoy the fruits without anxiety, without going backwards, without sabotaging yourself every time you make progress. But here's what nobody wants to admit. This is hard because our entire culture pushes consumption. Advertising everywhere. Social media showing everyone's highlight reel. Friends and family judging your success by what you drive and where you live. The pressure to look successful is intense, even when you're not. And this is where most people break. They can't handle the gap between their actual financial position and their desired social appearance. So they fake it. They finance the lifestyle. They use credit to look like they're winning while they're actually drowning. And once you're in that trap, it's incredibly hard to escape. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus graduated with a good degree, got a decent job, $60,000 a year. Not amazing, but not bad. He's been working for 5 years now. He's gotten raises. He's up to $75,000. But somehow, he's more stressed about money now than when he started. Here's what happened. When Marcus got his first job, he immediately signed up for a car payment. He wanted to look professional. Then he got an apartment that was a bit of a stretch. He wanted to live in a cool neighborhood. Then came the furniture, the wardrobe upgrade, the going out with colleagues who made more money. Every single raise Marcus got went straight into lifestyle inflation. He's making 25% more than when he started, but his expenses increased 30%. He's literally going backwards while appearing to move forward. And the worst part? He doesn't even realize it. He just knows he's tired, stressed, always feeling behind. Marcus is chasing money. He's stuck in every single trap I just described. He's in a low-money environment where everyone talks about bills. He's focused on earning, not creating value. He's thinking in addition, not multiplication. He's terrified of any risk, and he celebrates every win by spending. Now let me tell you about Jennifer. Jennifer started in a similar position. Actually, she made less than Marcus, $55,000 a year. But Jennifer thought differently from day one. She kept her lifestyle low. She lived with roommates longer than felt comfortable. She drove a used car. She looked broke compared to Marcus. But here's what Jennifer was really doing. She was learning. She positioned herself in environments where successful people operated. She joined professional groups. She volunteered for projects that put her around high performers. She absorbed how they thought, how they talked, how they made decisions. And she focused on value creation. She didn't just do her job. She identified problems her company had and solved them. She made herself indispensable. Not by working more hours, but by delivering results that mattered. By making other people's lives easier. by creating value that was obvious and measurable. Then Jennifer started building systems. She took 10% of every paycheck and invested it. Not in get-rich-quick schemes, in boring index funds, in assets. She started a small side consulting business, helping small companies with her expertise. She created templates and processes that let her serve multiple clients without working endless hours. When Jennifer got raises, she invested them. When her side business grew, she reinvested the profits. She delayed gratification. She stayed uncomfortable longer. And after 5 years, something remarkable happened. Jennifer's net worth was 6 figures. Her income from multiple sources exceeded Marcus's salary. And she had options, freedom, the ability to take risks because she had a foundation. Same starting point, same economy, completely different outcomes. And the difference wasn't intelligence, or luck, or family money. It was thinking patterns. Marcus chased money. Jennifer thought like money. Here's what most people don't realize. It's not actually about the specific tactics. It's not about which stocks to buy, or which side hustle to start, or which budget app to use. Those things matter, but they're secondary. The primary thing is the operating system in your head, the framework you're using to make every single financial decision. When you're chasing money, every decision comes from scarcity, from fear, from need. You're thinking short-term. You're focused on immediate relief. You're trying to solve today's problem without considering what it means for tomorrow. It's reactive, defensive, exhausting. When you're thinking like money, every decision comes from a completely different place. You're thinking in systems, in patterns, in positioning. You're asking where money flows and how to be in that flow. You're focused on creating value, not extracting it. You're building assets that work for you instead of just trading time for dollars. The shift isn't about becoming a different person. It's about understanding the game you're actually playing. Money isn't personal. It's not judging you. It's not withholding from you because you're not worthy. It's just following predictable patterns. And once you understand those patterns, you can work with them instead of against them. Think about water for a second. Water flows downhill, always. If you want water to go uphill, you have to work incredibly hard. Pumping, carrying, fighting gravity every step. It's exhausting, but if you position yourself downhill, water comes to you, naturally, effortlessly. You're working with the pattern, not against it. Money is the same way. It flows in predictable directions, toward value creation, toward environments where it's already present, toward people who multiply it rather than just spending it, toward those who take calculated risks, toward those who build assets. If you position yourself in the flow, money comes to you. If you fight the pattern, it's exhausting. The people who seem to have money effortlessly aren't magical. They're not lucky. They're not smarter. They just understand the pattern. They stopped chasing and started thinking differently. They position themselves in the flow, and once you're in the flow, everything changes. Here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you chasing money or thinking like it? Are you focused on earning or creating value? Are you building assets or just accumulating expenses? Are you in environments where money flows or where it stagnates? Are you thinking in addition or multiplication? These aren't character flaws. They're learned patterns, and they can be unlearned. The moment you stop seeing money as something external that you have to catch and start seeing it as a system with predictable patterns, you've made the shift. You're no longer chasing. You're positioning. You're building. You're thinking like money itself. The question isn't whether you're capable of this. You absolutely are. The question is whether you're willing to think differently, to challenge your assumptions, to position yourself in the flow instead of fighting against it. Because once you make that shift, everything else becomes easier. Not easy, but easier. And that difference is everything.